Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the UnMastered Class, where we're going to dive into the aspects of adulting that don't get enough airtime, but let's be honest, we are all secretly Googling these things. My name is Lance Pendleton.
I'm Jake Dreyfuss. We'll be inviting experts and friends to help get all these questions answered. We're obviously going to learn a thing or two, and of course, we'll share a laugh along the way. And no episode would be complete without the third leg of our stool. Erin, welcome to the pod. Erin, how are you?
Doing well, excited to be here and ready to jump in.
So I'm super excited by this, Jake, and we can dig into just sort of why we thought of this and why we felt it was important. But, the one thing I want to just confront up front was, when you and I first started chatting, we said, what does the world need more of that doesn't exist? Podcasts.
Yeah.
We thought the world needs more podcasts, right? So
yeah, it just seems like a new platform that I think we're pioneering, right? So perfect time. I think we nailed it.
Yeah, and I think what we should also do is create a MySpace page while we're at it too, just to really kick in, because I just aged myself horribly. But I want your perspective right off the bat of why are we doing this? Because I have my understanding of this, but I really want to hear from you. Why did you feel like the time was right now for us to dive into this?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we've all been, and if you're a listener to this, and you're an early listener, probably you know us, we've all been part of these different networking groups, accountability groups that are focused on we're going to get better at business and better at life and better at relationships. And it's you and I were talking, it's we just still don't know a lot of the basic things about living as adults, because we have really big opinions about them, as we'll, I'm sure, experience today. So we thought, you know what? We should bring these topics to light, maybe find experts that can argue both sides, for us here, and just clear some things up so that we can move on and ideally live better lives now, actually understanding some of the basic things about our universe.
And I think it was for me, I laughed a little bit when we first started talking about this, because I was thinking, for all of the things that people sometimes come to us as being subject matter experts on,
yeah.
I feel so unprepared for the basics of life still. And I am 48 years old. At the age of 48, there are basic functions of life that I am why did no one teach me this? I have no idea. So I'm excited to jump into some of this stuff and really go through it. And I think as we've explored some of these, going back and forth with you and again, hopefully Erin being the voice of reason, it will allow us to dive in a little bit deeper into stuff that I still think somebody should have taught us when we were probably in school.
Probably. Yeah.
So I want to kick us off, because the first thing that I chuckled at was there was an article that showed up in the Wall Street Journal. And I looked at this article and I was immediately offended, wildly offended. And I showed it to my wife and she looked at it and said, yeah, no, that article's right. You're a psychopath. And I was like, what are you talking about? And so for the first topic of conversation, we're going to take a peek here at what I was highly offended by. So sleeping with socks on, is it comfort or criminal?
Oh, man. I mean, in preparation for this, knowing we were going to talk about this today, I attempted last night to sleep with socks on. I made it 4 minutes and literally threw them across the room. My dogs were confused. And it to me feels restrictive. I know we've got some research here that we're going to get to in a second. For me personally, it feels restrictive. It feels like I'm going to get hot. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but it feels like. And almost claustrophobic. I want some space.
Yeah.
I think you disagree, but.
Not only do I disagree, I want to point out that the actual title, and I got to make sure I get this right, because I'm sure, and we'll put it in there too if you want to read it and check it out, because I think it's really important. The article's title was, "If you sleep with socks on, you're a psychopath." This was in the Wall Street Journal.
Yep.
So I'm sitting here looking at this going, that's not true, because ever since I was a child, I have slept with socks on, because here's why. My feet are cold. I'm usually cold. And so I like the comfort and security and warmth that socks bring me. I don't want my feet exposed to the world at large, and especially at bedtime at night, it's just soothing and comforting. So the idea that someone would put your talons in the bed at night, exposed to the elements, and the sheets are cold, and it's just I can't even begin to fathom that.
But the sheets are cold momentarily, and then throughout the other 7 hours and 53 minutes of sleep, it's blazingly hot. Blazingly hot. I mean, you don't wake up in the night hot, I'm guessing.
I do wake up in the night hot, but my feet aren't hot. My body is hot, but I've never once woken up in the middle of the night and gone, damn, my feet are really warm right now.
See, I think the two things are connected. I think everyone in the audience right now is nodding their head in agreement with me that you're hot. It's almost like you're wearing a hat. It's like the same thing, right? I believe our heads and our feet regulate our body temperature. Erin's nodding. I know what team she's on here.
That's what I've always heard.
I think these issues are connected. I think
the heat escapes from your head and your feet. So when you get hot in the night, the first thing I think most people do is take their feet out from under the covers.
They do.
And if they have socks on, it's not really helping you much.
Well, first of all, Erin, you're now dead to me. So congratulations. And not only are you off my Christmas card list, but you're just wrong. And here's why. Because remember, you said the heat escapes from where? Both my feet and my head.
Yeah.
So if my feet are toasty warm, it's just moving all the heat to the area to just leave my body through the area that's already out there in the open.
Are you saying you're a hot-headed person, Lance?
So anyway, moving right along. No, let's dig into some of the science on this. So
please.
Can we do that, Jake? Because I just want to touch on some of this because again, I was offended by this and my wife apparently agrees with both of you and I don't like being in the minority. So let's talk. There are, I think, a couple of articles that are written, and there's a sleep expert, Carla Gassia, says that your socks can still accumulate dirt and bacteria. So now not only is this about me being warm, I'm also a filthy human by wearing socks. So please expand.
Well, there's a 2007 study that found that the kitchen floor in front of your sink was the 10th germiest place in the whole home. Twice, though, as germy as the toilet seat and about 12 times as germy as the remote control. So those two things are connected, obviously. So yes, you're bringing some, parentheses, a lot of bacteria into your bed, which may be okay. Maybe you're down with that. I don't know. That's maybe another episode. However, in fairness, we want to be fair and balanced here. The counterpoint here is that apparently as well, from some of these studies, people who do wear socks fall asleep up to 15 minutes faster than people who don't. That would equal an extra 91 hours of sleep a year.
So that kind of bodes well for my way of thinking, right?
Yes.
I'm actually sleeping better in that context. I also read somewhere, though, that wearing socks to bed improves blood circulation, which can also help you fall asleep faster.
Yeah. But then, I come back to you're waking up 2 hours later because you're hot. And you're like, oh, what's going on? And then you're awake again. So I don't think they're factoring that in. I think that the overall is a net loss. You may fall asleep faster, but you're going to be up more often because your body's uncomfortable.
So this is kind of like a massive Sophie's choice is what you're saying. We've ended up now either I'm bringing dirt and like grossness into my bed and destroying the pristine ecosystem, right? The habitat of cleanliness that exists in my bed, but I'm not going to fall asleep as quickly. The quality of my sleep may not be as good. And according to the Wall Street Journal, I'm a psychopath.
Yeah, and you can see how quickly this conversation spirals into the question, which I'm sure we'll tackle on another episode of like how often should I be changing my sheets, right? Like you can see this is the unmastered class, domino effect because we can't answer one question almost without answering another. So science is there supporting maybe doing it. However, I don't think it's the numbers are accurate. I don't think you're getting an extra 91 hours of sleep a year. I think you're up in the middle of the night multiple times. I think you got to roll the dice, fall asleep 17 minutes slower, but stay asleep the whole night because your body is comfortable.
Okay, so here's one last question for you on this topic, because before we move on to something else, I want to just put a bow on this. Both for you and Erin. In terms of sleepers, light sleeper or heavy sleeper, and are you a tosser and turner or a stay-in-place person?
We have to consult my wife, but I believe that I'm not a tosser and turner, and I kind of stay in the same spot and wake up there, I think, yeah.
And do you do it deep sleep, or like your kind of mouse farts wake you up?
I do jump out of my skin if like one of the kids comes in the middle of the night when she can't sleep. They know to go to mom because I think I'm just like ready for like an intruder or something, and I just jump at them, and it scares them. So I think probably on the lighter side. I'm gonna guess based on that story.
Erin?
I think it depends for me. I think I'm normally a good sleeper, and I think I stay asleep since like when I got my puppy a year ago. I would wake up if I hear one of the dogs go to the door and scratch. But other than that, I think I'm pretty good at staying asleep. I will also say that the few that I have tried like deep winter to sleep with socks on because my feet are cold, they don't stay on, and I don't wake up and take them off. It's just like subconsciously I kick them off. So
that's a really good point. So
I don't even have an option of sleeping with them.
I kind of believe that the answer to this question, by the way, does lie somewhere between socks or no socks into how you also sleep. Because I will tell you, for me, I am a very light sleeper, but I don't move. In fact, it's almost like you ever watch those things where vampires go into coffins and they just put their arms over themselves and they just lay there and that's it? It's kind of like that. My wife, on the other hand, will thrash like it's end of days, and there could be a herd of elephant that roll through the room and nothing will wake her from that process. Me, on the other hand, somebody sneezes 2 counties away and I'm like, what? Did someone call my name? So it is clearly a big part of probably where the psychosis comes from. But I think it's a super interesting topic. I'm still wildly offended, and both of you are not getting fruitcake from me this year for Christmas because you're both wrong about this, but that's fine.
We'll let the audience decide, I guess.
Are you a hot sleeper or a cold sleeper? I think that's the other big factor. Like, do you tend to run hot or cold?
It's super interesting. And again, this opens up a whole, and this is why I love this show, because we're going to probably dive in and bring some experts into some things about sleep coming up down the road, right? What's the temperature of the room? Science says that, I've read some things, it's supposed to be 66, 67 degrees is the appropriate sleeping temperature. For other people, foam mattresses, we've got Casper mattresses. I love my Casper mattress. I love it. Best mattress I've ever had in my life. But it does run hot. So that factors in as well. So Jake, I think we got a whole topic just on sleep alone.
Oh yeah. Let's do it. Well, we're learning a lot about each other. Should we go to topic number 2 here?
Let's do this.
All right. Toothbrushes. Moving on to our dental dilemmas. I brush my teeth 3 times a day. One of the benefits, I think, of working from home, although I did do this in the office back when I was going to the office every day. Is that overkill? Is that essential care? Let's discuss.
Well, first of all, I think you already think that there's a problem here because I'm not even awake in enough hours of the day to be able to actually brush 3 times a day. But 2, I was always told twice, morning, evening. No, Erin?
I think it's admirable.
Did you brush it all?
Expand on that, please.
To get to 3. I think dental hygiene is so important, and I think it's so undervalued, and you could get into a whole conversation about how dental insurance is different than health insurance, but I think having good dental hygiene is so crucial, and I think 3 times is great. Like, there's an old DOC episode, which might be a little after your guys' time, where she says, like, she's flossing at lunch in the cafeteria, like in the bathroom, and she's saying, like, do you know how much plaque accumulates on your teeth between breakfast and lunch? It's a lot. I think going back to what you said about doing it in the office versus at home, Jake, there's probably some hygiene debates to be had about brushing your teeth in a public restroom.
No question.
But overall, I would side with Jake.
I mean,
but I think if you can do 3 times, if you have the self-control and discipline, I think it's admirable.
Couple comments. First is, so in the spirit of just, getting vulnerable here, Lance already revealed his age within 4 minutes of the podcast starting. I'm 42. I've had 2 cavities in my life, one of which occurred last week. And I've taken pride. I have a couple things I take extreme pride in my life. 1, never had a cup of coffee. 2, which I thought was going to be amazing, was I've only had 1 cavity, which I debate was even a cavity. It was, I think it was just maybe something stuck in my tooth. So I've been doing this, but I was really upset. And then my dentist was like, he's like, I had to look at your 2 different x-rays to determine if there's even a cavity. He's like, I think it is. It's a flossing cavity, he called it. So apparently my floss was too skinny. There is a whole thing out. When you go to Target and try to find floss that's not like lubricated, you can't find it anymore. Like there'll be 100 things on the wall. They're all ultra slick. They don't work. And it left me with a cavity. So now I have to go out and find this thick floss. I mean, it's a whole thing. Anyway, you can tell this is a hot button item for me. point of pride though, making through my life with one cavity, I thought it was gonna be great. Now I have two. So even the 3 times a day didn't serve me well. Although I will say the modern technology of getting a cavity filled, amazing. My dentist, the experience was tremendous. Didn't feel a thing. Now here we did find there's some research that was done here. It says, this is crazy. I think this cannot be true, but it says the average person will go through 20 tubes of toothpaste a year. For the thrice-a-time brushers like me, 30 tubes. There's no way. I think maybe 4 tubes a year. This 30 tube thing, that's crazy town. Am I wrong? Are you guys going through 20 tubes a year?
I mean, first of all, I'm just stuck with that you said thrice a time. I'm like, did we go to ye old English all of a sudden? Like, that's a new one.
And we can thank our producer, Erin, for that. Yeah, yes. I mean,
I thought you stroked out for a minute. I wasn't sure what happened there, but no, I will tell you, that is actually a crazy statistic. And average person going through 20 tubes a year.
No way. There's no way.
To 30 tubes. That's
way too much toothpaste if that's what you're doing. Pea-sized, like pea-sized.
Wasteful amount.
Pea-sized.
Yeah.
We had like a Costco toothpaste purchase before we moved like 3 years ago that we are just now down to like the last 2 tubes of.
Yeah. Someone was off on that. Now but go ahead, Lance.
No, I was going to say, I do twice a day. And in fact, in full, and again, what I love about this podcast is I'm always going to be honest. Even if someone is going to completely judge me and think horribly, sometimes it's actually only once a day because at the evening one, I've got a big water pick system.
Yes.
And I will like use that, and that's my evening routine now.
Amazing.
So in fairness, technically the whole brushing part might only be once in the morning, and then by the evening I'm doing the whole water pick flossing process.
Dude, yeah.
And like, I love that thing. But, here's the part of this that I find fascinating. How do we know? Like at the end of the day, if you think about it, I have zero faith and confidence within the dental industry to be able to tell me on the whole what the right thing to do is, because obviously they're going to be creating and doing things that are going to benefit them in the industry, right, as to whether or not. So like, this is the part that I get confused on. This is why I love this podcast, because we're going to talk to experts and understand stuff, but like literally, how do you know? And what I want to really understand is, if I go to the dentist and someone says, like you just experienced, like there is a cavity, right? They usually will tell you, well, here's what you need to be doing to improve upon that. But yet, does that thing ever like give you massive confidence that if I do this, this is never going to happen again? Because it always seems stupid to me. They're always like, well, you need to be actually flossing more. So I floss more. And then they find out that there's like pockets that have developed because I overflossed. And I'm like, now what? Well, now you got to go switch to this product and device. And I'm like, oh God, I can't anymore.
I know. Well, according to the experts from some of the research we've done here, they say twice a day is fine, Lance. You're A-okay, sir. Once in the morning, around 30 minutes after breakfast, and once before bed. Now, you brush your teeth when you wake up. You eat afterwards. Like everyone's mouth is nodding, air's nodding. So, okay, experts, I'm with you. Or maybe I can agree to the 2 a day, but it can't be after. It's got to be before breakfast. You can't have that. That's just weird.
Yeah. Wasn't that the whole thing that like you're just basically consuming all the bacteria that built up in your mouth overnight and yada, yada, yada?
And then there's a good bacteria and bad bacteria. Like, I don't know, man. But I will say, after the post-second traumatic cavity of my life, I am now a water picker because I got one for my daughter. She didn't use it, so I stole it because I'm now paranoid that I'm not flossing well. You know the thing. And it is, talk about feeling fresh.
Yeah.
Talk about feeling fresh. I mean,
yeah.
Amazing.
I am with you. Anytime I have a not so fresh feeling, I roll right to that water pick right there. And I just dated myself from a bad commercial from the
Did you just plug into the
80s,
wall?
by the way.
Did you just plug into the wall?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's what my grandparents had that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
They make wireless
for years.
Yeah. So I will say this. Now part of the reason behind the 3 times for me is actually psychological. It's less about the oral care. For me, if I brush my teeth midday, I'm less likely to snack. I snack between calls and meetings just because there's free time, and that's like my go-to thing to do. If I brush my teeth, though, I'm less likely to snack and eat stuff I didn't want to eat in the first place. So
I could definitely see that. Yeah. But Erin mentioned something at the beginning when we brought this topic up. If I'm sorry, this is just me. Call me strange. If you're flossing or brushing your teeth in a public space, you're homeless. Like you're homeless. At that point in time, like I only expect people that are without a home to be the people that are in like the office bathroom brushing. Stop it. And don't you judge those people. You walk into a public place and someone's brushing their teeth and your first thought is ew. Like you're in a public bathroom, like someone is literally, dropping dookies in another area and you're sitting there brushing away for personal hygiene. That's nasty. I'm sorry.
Well, I think it also raises the question of like, where did the toothbrush come from? Like, where are you pulling that out of and where are you putting it back into? And are you putting a cap over the bristles while they're wet and then it's just sitting in there wet in your bag? I don't like that.
It's just gross. So like, I'll take a cavity every once in a while to not actually be brushing my teeth in the same place that Larry from the office cubicle next door is, reading the newspaper in the stall.
Well, it says, according to these experts, if I'm brushing 3 times a day, I didn't fact check this, but it says that's about 58 days of my life I'm spending brushing my teeth. I am happy with that. I'd rather have 58 days of my life spent. I mean, by the way, just think about that for a second. Just brushing your teeth straight through 58 days. I'd rather have that than have to sit in the dentist chair more than twice a year for an hour at a time. I'm cool with that. I'll take it. I'll take the hit.
I could see that. And did we cover the aspect that they also say that brushing your teeth frequently actually helps with weight?
No, but that's interesting. And I think maybe it ties into what I said too. Maybe it just kind of cleanses the palate a little bit and kind of breaks the because what is it when you're eating like salty foods, like it's the crunch and the sound and the taste that makes your taste buds want it. So if you kind of break that chain, it forgets that it was enjoying that pattern. I don't know.
I think it's also like the orange juice argument. You don't want to brush your teeth and then have orange juice. Same kind of principle. Once you brush your teeth, your mouth's feeling fresh and you have a minty taste. You don't necessarily want to mix something with that.
Do they make adult toothpaste in flavors other than mint? Do they like Hubba Bubba and other flavors? I wonder. If not,
I think
we should
use
start it.
The kids flavored toothpaste.
Yeah, my kids have some crazy flavors.
Sparkle Fun flavor.
I'm not even sure it works.
And before we wrap this topic, I just have to ask, since you brought it up, when you go to the dentist and they give you the options of what type of flavored polish you want, has anyone ever gone, oh, I love X?
I had a little bit of a meltdown. I mean, as you can imagine, I'm always a mint guy. I mean, it doesn't take much to realize that already. Do you have to get the extra fluoride paint on your teeth afterwards, after the cleaning? Do they offer you that?
No, that's the $5 undercoating that I'm like, no, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, I get it. Whatever. Because again, I'm paranoid. I get it. The only flavors though were like caramel and like cookies and cream. Like, why does an adult dentist practice even order those flavors? Just get mint. I mean,
are you at a Baskin Robbins?
Yeah, I still got it, but didn't like it.
Wait, but which one did you get?
Caramel. Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
man,
yeah,
that's just wrong on so many levels.
Just get mint. Why do you get? Who's ordering? Whatever.
Well, do you remember the hardest part? They don't do it anymore, I don't think, was the fluoride cups. They'd like put that goo in the cup and then put the whole cup in your mouth, and you had to sit there within your mouth.
Yeah. They don't do any of that stuff anymore. Yeah, like the technology these days, unbelievable.
That was terrible. Erin, you never had to deal with that, did you?
Oh.
We did something like that when I got braces.
Yep. Yeah, they don't do that anymore. Now they just
you had to do it to mold your teeth.
No, yeah. I could think about that. But anyway.
I literally. Okay. Anyway, moving right along. So you had me at Hubba Bubba there. So let's change topics, because this one I actually have no knowledge of or opinion on, and I feel like both of you are going to really have some strong opinions on this one. So the great gene washing debate, frequency or frugality, is the primary question here, because how often should you be washing your jeans? And I'm going to tell you right off the top, I don't really wear jeans. I've never been a jeans guy. So for me, by default, I'm like, I wore jeans and I just threw them in the laundry because I don't wear them very often. But I do know people, and like, for example, in our household, there might be jeans that go through 2 or 3 times out into the world before they get washed, and what's okay. So this one's a new world for me.
I can tell you, well, this is a tricky one. I'm sure people in the audience have a lot of opinions. Jeans are certainly the unsung heroes of our wardrobes. However, when it comes to washing them, whole other story. For me, the only trigger to immediately having to wash them is if I've taken a flight and I've sat in the seat with them, right? We're getting some nods, but I'll agree. Other than that, It's definitely, I think you said 3 or 4, Lance, or something. Like, I am probably 10 times that. It's just when I'm like, oh my gosh, I probably should do, like, there's no set calendar. In fact, the ones like on my floor in my closet right now, I've been looking at every day for like a month. They should probably be washed. I won't wash them. They're so comfortable right now. They fit perfectly. I'm going to keep rocking them until I take a flight with them.
I'm sorry. I'm having like a moment. Hold on. You're telling me that you will wear a pair of jeans up to 10 times before you put them in the wash?
Way more than that. Way more than that. 10 times what you said. Like 30, I'm sure 34 times. 100%.
Time out. Wait.
Toothpaste numbers.
Yeah. Hold on a second. But you'll wear a pair of jeans legit up to 10 times before you put them in the wash. But I'm a freak for wearing socks in bed.
Hey.
The bacteria load alone of societies were out in general. Like,
yeah, I see your argument.
I mean, I'm mortified by being in like the general vicinity of anything that I think might be dirty, and I'll wash everything 5 times, let alone like my pants.
Well, I'm pretty much one of these guys. When I come home, if I've worn, I usually wear jeans out to look like I'm a productive member of society, right? When I get home, though, however, and that's literally what I'm thinking about. Like when I'm going to take my kids to like lacrosse on like a Thursday night, I'm gonna see the other parents. I'll put on jeans after wearing my comfy pants all day at home, so that I look like I exited the house at some point. So well, that said, when I do come back in, I'm immediately back into the comfy pants, or shorts, depending on the season, obviously. So I feel like I'm not bringing the germies into my bed or my house. They kind of they just go back on the hanger, stay in the closet. And so that's how I make myself feel better about it. Experts suggest from our research that, thank you for bringing this up, Erin. So a study from the University of Alberta found that jeans worn for 15 months without washing them contain nearly the same amount of bacteria as those washed after 2 weeks. Surprisingly, most of the bacteria were harmless. So
yeah, that's first of all, that's Canada, so that's all fake news.
Doesn't count.
It doesn't count. But I'm gonna give you one last question, just because again, I'm literally dumbfounded by this concept. But what is the difference though between like if you had comfy pants that you wore and you wore them out, do you re-hang up the comfy pants? Like, why are jeans different? That's the part that I don't get.
Jeans allow me to put things in my pocket and keep them organized. Like if I'm wearing my comfy pants to lacrosse practice, my phone and my wallet are the front of my legs, which I think looks weird. And they're like kind of banging around a little bit. They're hanging out. Like there's no structure to it. Jeans for me provide a little bit of structure, not too much. They're super comfy. Now, the reason I would wash them is less about germs. It's actually what our experts suggest here, that this is to preserve color and structure of the jean. So I'm like, all right, the jeans are like, the knee kind of hangs out a little too far because I haven't washed them in a while. So when I wash it tightens them up, and our experts suggest that we do that every 5 to 6 weeks just to preserve the color and the structure of the jean. So that's more what I'm thinking, less about germies, more about these things are turning into comfy pants and they're meant to be jeans. So I tighten them up.
So at that level though, why wouldn't you like dry clean them? Like if we're that concerned with the care. Well, that's weird.
Because they're going to come back like pleated or, whatever, I don't want all that. No, the wash is fine. The wash is fine.
Blows my mind. Well, I also am reading here that one of the expert things says that some people swear by freezing their jeans instead of washing them because it kills bacteria and freshens them. That's a thing.
Do you have extra space in your freezer for pants? I don't. I have like so much Eggo waffles in there. You couldn't fit a pair of. I'm not even kidding. I guess I gotta post a picture. No, but I mean, I think that's interesting. I don't know who came up with that. That's got to be like a wives' tale.
No, I've heard that a lot, but I've never understood it, A, from the space component, and B, from the germ component. I mean, if it's killing the bacteria, sure, but I don't want to put dirty clothes where my food is.
But according to Jake, they're not dirty. You can actually wear them up to 10 times. Yeah. So technically, they should be fine.
If you're washing them, maybe you're only washing them to preserve the structure. But for me, I think it's a nuanced thing. Like, I don't have a set amount of times that I wear my jeans before I wash them. I think it's a combination of feeling it out. Like, are they feeling stretched out? Do they need to be restructured? But then also the nuance of like, was I on a plane? Did I go out somewhere where I felt like I sat on a dirty bench or was in like a crowded bar or like, you know.
Is it?
But where do you draw
nuanced.
the line? That's what I don't understand. Like, okay, so I get an airplane, cool, but Jake, you've got jeans on, you go out to meet some people, you take an Uber. I'm sorry, like I am literally boiling myself after being in an Uber. Like I don't care. Like
No, this
Was it a 5-star ride or a 2-star
Yeah.
ride? Like,
which my
Cloth
rating
seats.
or his or their rating?
cloth seats, man. Some of those cloth seats are rough. Yeah, this conversation has solidified in my mind. Here's actually the only decision that I make to wash jeans is related to the structure of them. When they get too baggy and the knee starts hanging out, if you know what I'm talking about, that's when I wash them. It's purely for visual.
or if they smell.
I don't smell them.
Sometimes they get
I think I'm in
like, a
denial. I
smell.
don't smell them, so it's just look.
Well,
Look.
also, I think I'm really lacking in this department here in this conversation because clearly y'all have really good jeans. Like you've purchased some very expensive or very nice jeans. Erin's shaking her head no. So then why? Who cares?
Maybe
Like,
that's why mine smell.
because I'm going to be honest with you, like I'm at the stage of my life now where I'm literally shopping for groceries, clothing, and like bulk mayonnaise all in the same place.
the same
Like, let's
place.
be clear, like it's the same place.
Are you Costco jean buyer? Is that what?
I am a lazy human at this point in time in my life. I have so many different things going on that like the idea of like my jeans are in the freezer, like I'm lucky
Nah.
I have pants on most days. I am literally
Yeah.
lucky that I'm wearing pants. You don't know that I'm not wearing pants right now. Like
I don't know.
it's a hard uphill climb.
Well, here's the good news.
I have socks on. I do have socks on.
Well, here's the good news for the Levi's CEO has said he has jeans that haven't been washed in over a decade. So
Well, okay. So you
guessing
get
he's more than one pair.
I would
You're
ask how
buckled up.
regularly he's wearing them
I mean,
and duration of wear.
Yeah.
I don't
Something
know.
tells me that guy's also brushing his teeth in the washroom at the Levi's headquarters at
I think
lunchtime.
he's got his own bathroom. He's got his own bathroom. He's got his own bathroom. Well, I don't know. I guess that's another open-ended debate question for us that we'll have to conquer. Yeah. I don't
So
know.
as we wrap this up, this is why I love this podcast, because we're going to start exploring all these different ways and spaces and places where we can do. But, you know, I think covering socks, toothbrushes, and jeans, we've mastered adulting so far this morning.
so far.
Or at least our lack thereof.
These are important. Yep. And look, I mean, feel free to send us a DM on the gram if you have a topic you'd like to discuss. I'm sure eventually we should start putting out some surveys, see what people think after some of these topics. And of course, we'll bring out some experts that actually know what they're talking about here. But before you go, just do us a solid. You hit the subscribe button, drop us a rating if you enjoyed it. And it's like, giving us a high five. And who doesn't like a good high five, right? Lance.
Everybody loves a good high
Everybody
five.
loves it,
So I'm going to go put my jeans in the freezer. I'm going to go brush my teeth, and
Woo.
I'm going to go to Costco and buy a jumbo pack of socks so that I'm wearing clean socks every single
Every
night
night.
to bed 365 days a year.
Bed socks. Love you guys.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.